segment of refactoring day 17. We're going to be looking at some of the same types of refactors as we did yesterday in JavaScript, but in Python, which has slightly different ways of doing things. So we have a big process ticket sale thing here, which creates a log that says it's processing. Then the actual ticket sale processing stuff, get the correct ticket, do some slow API processing stuff, and then set the status to processed and save it, and then the rest is all like finishing the logging, if there's any errors, logging the errors, etc. So the only bit that's ticket related is that stuff, the rest is all logging. So this could be a good category of things we could separate out, like try and separate the logging out. It's then reusable. Potentially it's a bit cleaner as well, we'll see. So the way we can start off by creating one of these wrappers would be the same type of idea as we did in JavaScript. So def log wrapper, and it's going to take an inner function. Then it's going to return a wrapped function, so define wrapped, which is going to take some args and some sort of k-args, and then we're going to run inner function with those args and k-args because we don't care about them at all. We should probably return it rather than just running it, just for sort of completeness sake. And then the log wrapper function is going to return wrapped. Right, so this means this log wrapper function we can sort of wrap other functions inside of. So this process ticket sale, we could have process ticket sale equals log wrapper process ticket sale. So this we've renamed or redefined the function so that it's now the wrapped version of the function like this. And this type of pattern is pretty common. So Python actually has a thing called decorators, which make it even prettier. So if we don't want to have to write this all over the place, so we get rid of that. We'll take our log wrapper and just move it to the top of the function up here. We can now say here log wrapper with an @ symbol, and it will now take this function in and do all of that stuff to it, which is awesome. One slight problem that's more of a process problem is that like this thing that it's returning now doesn't have the same doc string or other information about it. So like if I put a doc string here, process the ticket. So Python has a little utility which we can import, which is just the wraps decorator itself. Wraps you can import from, so from functools import wraps. And that's always a good practice to put in place around wrappers, just to make sure that things work correctly as you'd expect. So then we can move any logic we want the ticket logging stuff out into there. So this process ticket sale thing takes a single thing called details. We know that, so we can get rid of this args k-args business here and just have details as a thing. So details, since we know the shape of it. That means we can move this log stuff here out into the wrapped function there, because we've still got the same details now that we're doing stuff for. So let's move that out into the wrapper. And this try except stuff would be a good thing to move out as well. So what we can do here is we'll just get the bits we want to keep in this inner wrapped function, all that stuff, move that out there, move that out there, and then inner function details is going to be all of this stuff here. So then all of that we can move out into there. And that's sort of, there we go. So now this log wrapper takes all of the logging stuff and just calls the inner function there. And the process ticket sale is log wrapper, and it does all of this stuff, which is cool. So we've now separated it out that way. The other option of ways of doing this type of thing would be using context managers. So context managers, we can also, so from context lib import context manager. And rather than doing this whole log wrapper, let's just grab that, shall we? And we'll make a version of it as a context manager here. Down there, we'll copy it, we'll get rid of this log wrapper instead. And what we're going to do here is we're going to get rid of all of this, and we're going to say context manager. I'm going to say define ticket log action ticket ID. So then we take all of that stuff, get rid of it. We don't need this return wrap thing. And this inner function here, we don't have this inner function anymore. So what we're going to do is we're just going to say yield log. So when this function is called, it starts doing stuff, creates the log. It then yields execution, saying I don't need it to do anything right now. And once Python is done with whatever it's doing, it will bring us back in here to finish all of this stuff here. So this ticket log action, let's move that back up to above here again. With that, we could put this in here. We can say with ticket log action, do all this stuff. But it needs to be passed in the details, the ticket ID, doesn't it? So we can just say ticket ID equals details ID, like that. So we've added a level of indentation, but we haven't had to use the decorator. This means you can use these context decorators anywhere in a code. It doesn't have to wrap the entirety of a function. You can wrap just pieces of it. You can have multiple of them, and it's also quite a nice pattern to work with. We use these with patterns, these context managers for lots of different things in Python, for opening and closing files, for database connections, for transactions, all kinds of stuff. Really useful. So that's two different ways we can sort of move wrapping stuff out of a function and into separate places, either into a context manager or into a decorator. Hope you found that interesting. See you tomorrow.